So, hello and welcome to SuccesSoul Conversations with me, Vicky Paul. I'm an intuitive, an artist, and an author, and I'm all about spiritual awakenings, self-development, personal transformations. And I wanted to set up a series of conversations with inspiring people about their own spiritual journey to help shed a light on some of spiritual awakening's biggest questions, and to really let you see that what you're going through, you're not alone. And today's guest is an amazing soul. Caroline Palmy is an award-winning author, speaker, and heart flow healer, and she helps empaths, sensitive souls, earth angels, and giving hearts come back into the flow of love. Her first book, Conversations with Me, is all about love and what that means in our everyday lives. And I'm really excited to see you because we first met over a year ago at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in Birmingham when I was hosting an event on behalf of our publisher, That Guy's House, about the power and benefit of spiritual and self-help books. And one thing that I just want to say, when I first met Caroline, because that was the first time we met, I was just blown away by your energy and how loving, relaxed, and calm you were. And it really made me go, oh my God, I'm so wah, and you're so chilled. So this is such a great treat to see you and to share your energy with everyone.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's always a pleasure to be on this show with you.
Oh, thank you. So for anyone who doesn't know you, Caroline is based in Switzerland. And before we kind of deep dive into your life and your spiritual awakening and all the amazing gifts that you share with the world, can you just tell everybody a wee bit about what you do, who you are?
I am a heart flow healer. So love is our true essence. Love is where we come from, and love is where we go back to. And here on earth, we sometimes struggle with love. We look on the outside. We need the approval of being lovable. And it's always in our heart, it's in us, that inner love, that inner joy. So I help the people to open the doors to their heart so they can be in that flow of love. They can feel loved just for being themselves and feeling worthy, feeling good enough, and just letting go of all that conditioning and not fitting in, not being good enough, or comparison. Mm-hmm. And it's gorgeous, and I love connect with my clients and help them. Sometimes it feels also like spreading their wings, and just being themselves, allowing them to be themselves, who they are or who they are meant to be. Mm-hmm. And I'm also a single mom of 3 amazing children. They're grown now, but still living at home. And a golden retriever, a gorgeous cat, and 9 tortoises that are hibernating. And now in winter, sometimes I also feel I could sort of hibernate.
But hibernate in a very beautiful country. I've got a deep love for Switzerland, just because I have skied there since I was a child, and it's just such a beautiful country. So you're very blessed to hibernate in such a beautiful country. So I just want to touch on 3 different areas. So these conversations, for anyone who hasn't watched SuccesSoul Conversations, and as an aside, everything is over on my website, Vicky Paul, if you want to catch up on previous episodes, but everything is based on my new book, How to Be Successful, which is a guide to reconnecting with your soul. And we share an absolute affinity with a passion for supporting people on their journey to come back to who they are. And I really believe we live in a society who tries to funnel us down a particular path, which works for many people, but for a great many, that path, that process doesn't work, and they lose a sense of who they are and who they came here to be. So I'm very much about that. So I love that we share this connection. And what I would love you to do, if anybody's not read my book, there's 3 different stages to the book. And the first one is the understanding, and it talks about the event or the period in your life or a set of circumstances where you realized your life couldn't go on anymore the way that it was going. So this is probably what would be akin to a spiritual awakening. Could you just share with us what that was like for you?
I actually have sort of 3 events that really went deep and opened up for new possibilities. And when I saw Neil Donald Walsh live the first time, and then he said, any of you had a really bad experience, you felt it's the worst day of your life or worst part of your life, we all had our hands up. And then he said, and later on, did you realize that that event was actually the best time of your life? And I said, yeah. And that's all about our discussion as well. So the first event was New Year's Eve, 2008. So nearly 12 years ago, when my then husband told me that he will move out. And that was the end of our marriage and the end of the life I've been doing for nearly 20 years. So that time, really being alone with my 3 really young children, struggling through that breakup, already feeling a bit relieved and learning that I was in an emotional, abusive, narcissist, empath relationship, bending over backwards, having no idea who I was anymore. I remember distinctly waking up in my living room. I was just looking around. I said, the books are all him. The sofas are all him. The paintings are all him. But what is me? Where am I, So that was the first wake-up call, realizing that I've completely lost myself, bending over backwards, trying to make this marriage work or trying to make my husband happy. And then the second event was maybe 2-3 years later, after another relationship ended, and I felt so unlovable. Everybody was leaving me. No one loved me. All that. And then I realized, after 5 days of crying, I realized I am so needy of that love, of that outside approval. And then I looked back and said, I only ever felt loved when I was in a relationship. And I also realized that I held on to unhealthy relationships far too long because I needed that approval. I only felt love when someone loved me. And of course, then a gorgeous journey began. And then the third accident was actually a near-death experience. I was skating near the beautiful lake of Zurich with my children, and someone bumped into me, and I fell back on my head, and I just had this fire that like arrows shooting in my legs and arms, and everything went black. And when I woke up, I had a really bad concussion and a severe whiplash. And of course, my kids were with me. They were scared because there was so much blood on the ice, and I needed stitches and everything. But it was a wake-up call to finally do my work. A little, sometimes the universe sends nudges, and if you don't listen, they sort of have to push you a bit more.
Yes. I don't know about you, and I don't love that you went through that, but we are very much kindred spirits, but our energies are probably, for the same source and from the same source, but sort of different. You're very calm and relaxed, and I'm probably like, yay, I'm the kind of activator. And so it's interesting that you also had this experience, because that's how it was for me, that, we just don't pay attention to the subtle signals. And I always try, and this is why I want to do these conversations, to really support people on their journey, because try as best you can to be more aware of what's going on around about you, what the universe is trying to support you with. Because when you don't pay attention to the subtle signs, oh my God, it's like a bulldozer comes in, and really knocks you off course, or actually back on course. So I take it health and everything is all good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So 3 huge life events. What did you learn from each one to the next? What were the learnings? What were the understandings? What were the teachings that you got from each experience, and how did they connect?
So the first one, when my marriage ended, it was really that time to reconnect with who am I. I met my late husband when I was about 20. So between 20 and 40, I was together with him half my life. And so I had to go back to my teenage years. What kind of music did I love? What did I love to do? Who was I before I met my then husband? And so it was a gorgeous journey to really come back to myself, sort of, who am I? What do I love to do? Asking myself, I didn't have to have dinner ready at 8 p.m. when my husband came back home, and I could have the kids up a bit later on. They didn't have to be in their rooms quiet. It was a new freedom. I could explore how I love to live my life. Plus also learning to stand up. Going through a divorce is never easy. It can be amicable, but still it's always a little tension filled. So I had to learn to stand up. And that was something I had a really hard time with. And the next one, when my relationship ended, it was really coming back to myself and that love within, that self-love. Let that love blossom coming back to my heart. Again, what do I need? How could I care for myself? Self-care, self-love, self-acceptance was a big thing. Just accepting myself, who I was. Because I learned that if you can't accept yourself, you can't truly love yourself. So accepting, embracing, and loving yourself. And with all of that, having my self-worth grow, feeling worthy and standing up for myself. So this is who I am. And learning to say no to others, having healthy boundaries, being a recovering doormat. It's always about those boundaries, And after my skating accident, that was because I felt so nauseous and nothing worked. The painkiller made me even worse. And then I learned about holistic health treatments, about pranic healing. So I had pranic healing sessions, and I really loved that. And so I went on and studied all about pranic healing. I had EFT sessions. I studied all about EFT. Even in my self-love journey, I connected to the angels and let the angels and the universe, all that spiritual integrate. And so I studied about the angelic healing, intuitive healing, flower therapy, all these gorgeous things. And it was because my children were still young. It was sort of, as a full-time mom, to do something for myself. It felt really strange, but it felt also good. So for a weekend, I had my mom come look after the children, and then I had a weekend course learning all those amazing things. And it was a new liberation. It was sort of allowing myself to be Caroline again, after being mom for so long. It's sort of like, it was a new reconnecting, a new me emerging, because it was sort of yeah, we also identify with being a spouse or a partner or a businesswoman or a mom or all of these, but we also forget, what about us? I am also Caroline. What does Caroline want? What would Caroline love to do apart from looking after the children or planning things? So this was, it was a nice wake-up call.
Yeah, and I just, which takes us nicely into the sort of second stage of the spiritual awakening. And in my book, we discuss it, how to be successful, the process. But I just want to sort of touch on a couple of things. So many of us have our identities wrapped up in external, I don't want to call them archetypes, but external aspects of who we are because of how we function in life. So I guess if you're watching, this conversation is going to be relevant whether you've been through a divorce and you're having to come back to who you are, but it can also be relevant because, as a parent, you lose a sense of who you are because naturally that attention and that focus gets put onto your children. But you're absolutely right. So much of relationships in general, whether it's as a daughter, a mother, a co-worker, a boss, etc., they take us away from who we are. And we spend so much time fulfilling those roles that we don't understand actually who we are. So what I want to do in exploring the process of all of this is, if you can share some of the tips and techniques that you used to reconnect with who you are, because I also had a similar journey with that. And when I was going through my own spiritual awakening, I didn't actually know what I liked. I didn't know, I knew the word passion. I knew what it meant in my head, but I didn't feel it in my body, and I didn't know what I was passionate about. So I actually, this is not a word of a lie, I Googled the dictionary definition of passion so that I understood what that feels like, because for so many of us, we end up becoming numb to our lives and ourselves because we've got functions to perform. We've got to get the kids up. We've got to be a wife, be a minibus driver, take the kids to all the different things that they have to do, all the various aspects of who we are. So we end up numbing who we are and what we want and what our desires are, because we feel that you can't have both, but in actual fact, you can. However, it involves bringing yourself from here down to here. So I'd love to hear a bit more about how you found that sense of self-worth, found that sense of self-care, what you did, if there was any exercises you did or any people that inspired you. It'd be great to hear about that.
Yes, I think the first part is sort of like, I read it in a book by Louise Hay, and this was sort of like, I accept you fully, and then you insert your name. And it was sort of, when I read the book and then I said it out loud, I accept you, Caroline, fully, or just I accept you, Caroline. And just saying that, it was sort of, for me, it was just like, wow, yeah. Mm-hmm. And just saying that over and over, that helps. Mm-hmm. Also embracing yourself. So maybe we can do that together. I invite you, just hug yourself, especially nowadays when we can't hug other people. It's we can hug ourselves. So just give yourself a good squeeze and take a deep breath in and embrace it. It feels so good. You are gorgeous.
Oh my God, that does feel good.
And now switch your arms, the one that was underneath, put it on top. And now hug yourself. And it feels maybe a bit awkward, but hug, embrace those parts you don't feel comfortable about. All those parts you wish you were different. All those parts you wish you could do better. But just embrace yourself. Embrace all those parts. These are parts of you. just send love to the dark spots of you. Take a deep breath in. Yes, you are lovable. Take another deep breath in, and then you can let go. And when you're ready, you can unhug yourself, and remember to do that often, and both sides, the yin, the yang, the in, the out, the good parts, the not so good parts about yourself.
That's amazing. Honestly, please, if you are watching this back, do this and share this technique, because you're absolutely right. We so miss the human contact. And that is, I had no idea quite how comforting, and even with it being me rather than someone else, it's not the action of another person, it's that. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter that it's you. Mm-hmm. When you close your eyes, what an interesting experience. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is lovely.
Yeah, and embracing yourself gives the message that you are worthy, you are lovable, and then exactly also the other side, not just the good sides. Very good about sharing the good sides, but the parts we don't feel so good about. And another one is, especially with self-care. We hear so much about self-care, and then we think, maybe a weekend away in the mountains, in a spa or something. But it doesn't need to be much. It's better to have little self-care throughout the day. But the thing is, it's different for every person, and it's different each time. So it's really good to ask yourself what you need. And that's best when you connect, like you said, with your heart. So I invite you to put your hands on your heart space. Close your eyes and take a deep breath into your belly. And just breathe out and breathe in deeply again. Breathe out, and now you're connecting to your heart. You might already feel calmer, more centered. You might notice that your thoughts are calming down. Breathe in, breathe out. And now in this space, ask yourself, what do I need now? What do I need now? And just let the answer come to you. Maybe you hear it in your inner ear. Maybe you see it in your inner eye. Maybe you sense it in your body. Or maybe you just know. And even if nothing is coming, trust that eventually it will come. Taking a deep breath. What is it that I need now? And just let the answers come. And now promise yourself you will do that for you. You will always look after your needs. You always fill your jar before you pour out and give to others. And this little exercise you can do wherever you are. Just come back to yourself, to your heart, to your inner wisdom, to your inner knowing. Take another deep breath. And when you're ready, You can let your arms come back down, open your eyes. And if you like to take some notes, do that now. Take a reminder of what it is you need now. And remember, it's this, maybe in 2 hours it might be something else. So just always connect to your heart, feel into it, and ask yourself, what is it you need right now? Because you know best. So often we want to have someone else tell us. We always think others know better. They're the expert, but we are the only expert in our life, in what we need. And allow that. Let the answers come and go with that. And don't just do it once and then say, oh, okay, I have to do that every day. It changes. And that's okay, because we always need something different every day.
Oh, it's so true. So true. I love that. It's you call it your heart, and it is your heart, but it's your intuition. It's that inner dialogue. It's your soul's conversation with you. So that's just wonderful. Thank you for that. Really special. I wanted to have a chat with you because you the work you do, you talk about, working with angels and working with intuition and being very spiritually connected. And, and as a healer, of course you are. That's just an integral part of the makeup of a healer, is to be, connected with source, divine, God, whatever language works for you. Were you always, we are always, but were you aware of being spiritually connected, or was it the awakenings that you had, and how did that process connect for you?
I was probably always very emphatic. Empathic. I never realized, that I picked up on others. I couldn't be in a lot of people in a crowd, or sometimes going into a room or a restaurant, a building, it felt like, oh. So through my learning, I realized, oh, I'm an empath. I pick up on others. And during my mediumship courses, I realized that I was maybe a girl of 10 or 11. And we had neighbors, they had 4 boys. And we were 3 girls. So they were a bit older, the boys, but the father, he loved having us over. So we could, of course, the doorbell rings now, but we could go over, and he loved having girls in his house. And then one day when I said goodbye, I sort of wanted to kiss him, had the urge to hug him and kiss that man. And that was the last time I saw him, because he was passing over 2 weeks later. And I had that awareness, that love I felt, and just that urge to just hug him and kiss him and everything. So, and during a healing course, all of a sudden in that group, I felt period pain, I felt cramps, and oh gosh, and I thought I had endometriosis, so I always had but I said, it's not my time, why do I feel this way, this is weird. And then in the afternoon, one of the ladies being there, she said, I have to go home, I have such terrible period pain. I thought I feel what she is going through. And then it was sort of like, oh, wow, that wasn't me, that was hers. And so for me, it was then more to learn what is me and what is coming from the outside. But it also helps me really feeling deeply into my clients. I feel their pain, their worries, their hurt, as if it's in my body, and it's a gorgeous gift. And it's often this way. for 40 years of my life, I've heard and told myself, I am just too sensitive. Mm-hmm. Something is wrong with me. I'm too sensitive. But having had this experience, I realized this is my greatest gift. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely a great gift. Now that I know, A, I have this gift, and B, how to go along with this gift. It's mm-hmm. amazing. It's mm-hmm. gorgeous. But not knowing, as a child, where things are coming from, it's really, when you're really picking up on anything, this mm-hmm. is really overwhelming and mm-hmm. can feel like, you're too sensitive. You are not meant for this mm-hmm. world,
Mm-hmm. And so many people will be like that and not realize, because we are all intuitive. We are all psychic. That is what it is to be a human being. These are senses out with, the five that we use to navigate the physical world. And when you perhaps feel a certain way, or there's stuff going on in your life that doesn't quite resonate or equate with what's going on, it's a really important, and this is why it's so important that we connect our mind, body, soul, spirit together so that we understand the language of each, because a lot of what we could be feeling and picking up on may not actually be our own, but we end up confusing it and allowing it to penetrate within us. And then, of course, that connection comes up here and you start to question. So it's hugely important that people recognize that we all have the ability to pick up on people, places, situations, and you're right to distinguish between our inner dialogue and other people's inner dialogue. We have to understand our own language. So it's so right in that. What I want to do now is move on to the sort of final section, which is the payoff, because we don't go through all of these ups and downs, and spiritual awakenings are full of ups and downs. It doesn't matter who you are. It's not always an up, 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 up. But it's interesting that even you alluded to earlier on in the conversation, is when you have this awakening, and oftentimes it's wrapped up in a really unpleasant package, very quickly you realize, okay, this might be really rubbish, but in actual fact, thank God, that there's something positive in there for me. And you very quickly connect to that, even if things are still going on round about you and it's chaos, and it might be chaos for months. There's an inner knowing that's kind of like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. But there's always an amazing payoff, or there's plenty of amazing payoffs. There's so much positivity, and even that doesn't fully do the payoffs justice. So what I would love to understand and for you to share with everybody is what your payoff was, which will look like how your life is transformed, what gifts you are sharing with the world. I want to obviously talk about your book. So please just feel free to wax lyrical about the payoff.
First of all, I am deeply honored to be a single mom to my 3 amazing children. And I just have the most gorgeous gift ever. I was there for them. We are a great family, the 4 of us. And no interfering, no having to fit in, nothing. This is just perfect. Yes, having those stories, actually, I have 2 books. So after my marriage ended and reconnecting with myself and how to stand up for myself, come out of that, I'm not good enough. He always told me I'm not good enough, so I'm not good enough. I shared all those stories in this book, Conversations with Me. And it's 30 chapters, independent, so you can just pick it up and read that chapter. And it's with little wisdom at the end of each chapter, a little exercise, like the hugging or the come back to the heart here. And sharing my stories with my children. And I remember that book once I wrote it and I had it all there. I said, okay, now it's good. I don't need to publish it. It's okay. It was still that, can I share that? Will he again, with the sledgehammer or talk me down? But it was ready to be shared and it was good. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous gift. And I had many, many people tell me how much it helped them. And after my relationship ended and I felt so unlovable and so alone and no one loves me, I shared the stories about that in Loving Conversations with Me, again, around 30 chapters, independent, with exercises at the end. Also, I did those exercises as audios, so you can listen to them and just feel into it. And this is amazing because this book is so close to my heart. This is what I work with my clients with, just so they can feel lovable, loving, that they can connect with that love within, that they know they are love, no matter what, just for being them, for being birth, for being here. It doesn't need approval. So this is the gorgeous second book. And quite frankly, if New Year's Eve 2008, my husband hadn't left, I am not sure I would still be here because I was completely burned out. I was completely exhausted, might even have felt depressed. I even had an anaphylactic shock in that year 2008, and I just functioned. I got up, drove the kids to school, grocery shopping, picked up the kids, and by 5 I was completely exhausted, only to hear, "Oh, you did nothing today." And for me, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. Now I feel alive, I feel liberated, I can finally do what I love to do. As a child, I always wanted to become a doctor. Of course, I had no ideas that there are healers around. I just wanted to help people. I wanted to heal them. So, my childhood wish came true. And deep down, I always knew that this is my path. And now I'm here with you chatting about those amazing experiences, hoping to inspire others. This is all. I love to help people. I love to share. I love to inspire people. I love to sort of shine my light out and let the others come back into the light. I learned that I can't paddle out and save everybody, especially not the ones that don't want to be saved. Shining that light out and out of my heart, sharing the love with everyone. So
it's wonderful. And I speak for myself, and I'm sure everybody watching, we are very grateful for that evening on New Year's 2008, because it's an amazing thing to hear the story and to witness someone coming back to who they are. And that is so important. And it's really at the crux of everything that we do, myself with my own book, How to Be Successful, with these SuccesSoul Conversations, with you and your 2 books. Everything is about sharing your story. And sometimes sharing your story often starts with just sharing your story with you and understanding what your story is. And it's for anyone who is considering writing a book, because I know so many people are. There's loads of people who've been called forward to share their story, to write a book. It can be really intimidating. To the process of doing it is one that is difficult, as you full well know. It's not as easy as you probably anticipate going into it, but it can be very difficult to take that leap and actually releasing it, because we still hold this, will I be judged? What will my family think? What will my friends think? Because there's stuff in here that I haven't shared with anyone. And that can be a really difficult leap, but it's the most liberating leap once you take it. But it's a total leap of faith. It is pure trust in action. So it's interesting, to hear and just to connect with other people that have, experienced the same thing. So thank you. So before we go, is there anything that you would like to share with anybody that's watching? And this could be some wisdom or anything that you are doing that people can come and work with you, connect with you. So this is an opportunity for you just to sell yourself, baby.
Come over to my website, carolinepalmy.com. Have a look around. Join me in my free Facebook group, Open Hearted Sisterhood. And also, as a gift from my heart to you, I love to invite you to get the healthy bedtime routine. This is a gorgeous, just releasing your energy, releasing the day, letting go, washing away all your worries, coming back to your heart, so you can just go to sleep and get that restorative sleep you need. Because without good sleep, we're just functioning. We need the sleep, a good, restful sleep. And when we go to bed and there's too much going on here, or tomorrow I have to do, or I should have done this, or we still have the energy of others with us, it's time to release all that. It comes, first of all, you can find it in my healing shop on my website, carolinepalmy.com, healthy bedtime routine. And it comes in a video where I explain all the tools I'm going to use. It comes with a PDF. You can print it out, put it on your nightside table to just like a little checklist. And the best thing is, it's not just for bedtime. It's good throughout your day when you just need to clear your energy. When you feel drained, you can just go through this, and the audio. So you can listen to it like with a meditation and just drop off to sleep. Mm-hmm. And please use the discount code well-being, in one word, well-being. And then it's a gift from my heart to yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I don't know about anyone else listening, but I'm kind of like, I could listen to you all day. Just such a beautiful energy. Caroline Palmy, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And again, thank you guys and gals for watching. This is obviously on my Facebook page, but I will also post it onto YouTube and onto my website, vickypaul.com. I will also share all the links to Caroline and to myself below. And if you do want to get in touch with either of us, certainly from myself, I'm happy to chat. Just send us a direct message or head over to Caroline's website. So take care. Much love wherever you are. And thanks very much for watching. And don't forget, sharing is caring. So please share this video with anyone who might be interested. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.